Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Earrings Off. We want to invite you to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. You can find us on Facebook at Earrings Off Podcast and on Instagram at The Earrings Off Podcast.
Welcome to Earrings Off. I'm Lou.
And I'm Teresa. Let's get started.
Today we're going to talk about Independence Day, known as the 4th of July or July 4th. Of course, it's a federal holiday commemorating the Declaration of Independence of the United States on July 4th, 1776. The Continental Congress declared that the 13 American colonies were no longer subject and subordinate to the monarch of Britain, King George III, and were now united, free, and independent states. Congress voted to declare independence 2 days earlier on July 2nd, but it was not declared until July 4th.
Thank you for that history lesson, Lou.
Don't give me that smirk.
Well, it's commonly associated with the fireworks, parades, barbecues, carnivals, and all of the sort, right? But for us, for people who look like us, it was pretty much just a celebration for a time for family to get together and for us to break out the grills, right?
Yeah.
Because think about it, in 1776, slavery was still intact. I mean, it was still there. It wasn't until about 80 years later that everybody was free, because it was Juneteenth, right? When the last slaves found out that they were independent.
Right. Well, and I agree with you. It's just been a time for us to enjoy family and to have a cookout and get together. I tell you what, but now it's like there's so much going on. We've swung the pendulum so far in the other direction. I went on Twitter this morning and the hashtags, F the 4th and, all of that. I'm like, an F America. I'm thinking, oh no, that's too much. It's too much. Can't we just engage in a dialogue about this? But that just made me feel some kind of way to see those kinds of expressions about this nation.
Yeah, I hadn't seen those, but right now it's just it's just, I understand. It's a lot.
But this Independence Day, with the spotlight glaring on racism here, here at Earrings Off, we wanted to try to explain why this holiday, which celebrates freedom, feels particularly sad to us this year when we are faced with so many attacks against us, against African Americans.
So Lou and I naively thought that this week we would share incidents of discrimination against Blacks that we learned about through the news or social media, and just in conversation. Just what happened in 1 week. We're going to just talk about incidents that happened against us just this week, or that we heard about or came to learn about just this week.
Right. That we learned about this week.
Yeah.
And that seemed like something we could do. But believe me, folks, our plan was naive because there were just too many. Think about that. Too many in 1 week, too many to track. And even if we could track them, there were just too many, honestly, to let seep into our spirits, because that kind of stuff, it scars you and you can only take so much. So for our own mental health and emotional well-being, we just selected a few to highlight the facts that we already know, that such hatred exists against us for no reason but the color of our skin.
Right. So we'll share a few of those incidents just to give listeners a glimpse of what African Americans endure on a daily basis. Trust us, It ain't pretty, and we ain't free.
Say that, sister. So we're going to start with the first one we learned about. A white couple. This blows my mind. A white
Yeah.
couple was arrested after the woman pulled a handgun on a Black woman and her daughters during a videotape confrontation in a restaurant parking lot in Michigan.
Right.
I mean, she pulled when you see that video of her standing there with that gun pulled and her finger on the trigger, I can't even imagine being that mom and her daughters. Things could have gone. She could have shot one of them. I mean, who does that? And you know what I was thinking? I said, you know what? I'm so proud of our community in the face of these attacks, showing some restraint and thinking so that they're reacting in ways which doesn't end in our death or in our injury or in our arrest. Because Teresa, you and I know, we know what the term earrings off means. This female pulls a gun on her, this woman and her daughter. That could have gone badly. Yeah, they're to be applauded and recognized for showing some restraint against this woman who did that. I mean, really.
Well, I mean, they had no choice in this case, but I get what you're saying.
Right.
The female had a gun pulled on a mother and her children who were defenseless against that, and the husband as well.
I just want to make sure we say the names of these folks because that's important. People need to know. Jillian Westenberg and her husband, Eric Westenberg. And they were charged with felonious assault by the Oakland County prosecutor.
Not at first, Lou.
Yeah, right.
This happened a couple of days ago, and the first thing that happened to them was that there was going to be no charge. They did nothing wrong. I'm glad that ultimately justice prevailed and that they were arrested, and I hope that this felony remains with them.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. One that I saw that was not really against us, but I'll just tell you, this white man came to the defense of a Black woman who was being attacked by another white man, calling her the N-word and just attacking her for no reason. A white man came to her defense, and that guy stabbed him in the neck. He also stabbed him in the hand. They said he will likely not have the use of a couple of his fingers. He's in critical condition, but he should be applauded for standing up. And unfortunately, I don't know his name to say it, but he should be applauded for coming to the defense of this defenseless Black woman who was being attacked.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness.
There was no video of it. It was just a story that I read on CNN.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, the next one, it just sort of broke my heart when I saw the video and heard about it. Stacey Pierre Lewis was stunned when he watched home security video of his son. His 9-year-old son, Elijah, was dribbling a basketball in his driveway in Connecticut. And the 9-year-old boy saw a police car driving by, and he stopped playing basketball and hid behind the car. He hid behind the car until the police car was gone. His dad shared the video and said he asked him, they've been careful in his household. They don't speak negative about the police. They haven't shared about the incidents, too much about the George Floyd or Ahmaud Arbery. But they asked Elijah, why did he do that? And he said, because he'd heard about the murders and he was trying to protect himself. This is what our children are dealing with. And so when they talk about the mental health and the emotional impact of all of this. We know what we're feeling. We started off saying about how sad we are and how to even, Teresa, to protect ourselves emotionally when looking at this segment, we stopped looking at it. But here is this young boy who is hiding from the police. That's very sad.
It is very sad.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have another story about a gentleman in, I think it was South Carolina, visiting a, what do you call that, flea market. Mm-hmm. And in the flea market, there were various people who had masks on and some that did not. And this particular guy, black guy, did not have on a mask because he forgot it in the car. He was trying to make a purchase and leave the store. And as he was making the purchase, he was approached by two police officers. They did not offer there's a video of it. They did not offer why they were attacking. They grabbed his hand. Actually, he was about to pay for, he laid his phone down. He was about to pay for his item, and they grabbed his hand and put it behind his back. He was like, "What is happening?" And they went to, and he of course resisted. And because he didn't know what was happening to him. You can clearly see on the video. And they arrested him because he did not have on a mask, when there were white people in the same facility without masks on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was his crime. He was in a facility making a purchase, about to leave, and they arrested him without a mask because he
didn't have on a mask. And see, that's the thing. I hope people understand how that makes you feel, less than. When you see you're being treated differently from other people for no reason other than someone just doesn't like you because of the color of your skin. That is so deep, that's just, it takes away something from you as a human being. So
absolutely. It actually takes it away from me, and it didn't happen to me.
Right. You're exactly right.
So, and
yeah.
It just, yeah.
Another one recently, Russellville Hospital in Russellville, Alabama, they went viral after an employee, Linda Hutchinson, she made a racist Facebook comment. Said she was tired of the protesting for Black Lives Matter. She said she wanted the KKK back. Think about that. She said she was considering becoming a racist. I would offer if she wants the KKK back. She probably already is one, but I don't know Linda. And so her demands for the KKK to come back brought her life into question. And so on her profile, she listed her job. She was an RN in the ICU for the hospital. So anyway, to their credit, the Russellville Hospital, after being hit with several complaints about Linda Hutchinson, they made a statement, and she's no longer employed by them. And they said that such intolerance is not acceptable to them, and they do not stand by her comments. And what I'm seeing is that people who are doing these racist acts or making racist statements, they are being reprimanded. They're like that Amy Cooper in New York, they're losing their jobs. So looks like to me, even if you don't really care about, what you're doing, looks like you would think about the fact that you could potentially lose your job and impact your family that you love so much, that you would think about that, because there are serious repercussions. But you are that angry that you don't even care about that's just who you are. And that level of hatred is something to think about. Yeah.
Oh, you just said a mouthful. I mean,
really
put your own self at such a risk. I mean, but again, it goes to white privilege, because
they don't think that that's going to happen.
Oh, what I'm saying is that hospital might have fired her, But guess what? Another will hire her because she's white. She's a white woman. It goes back to white privilege. And I think that's why it doesn't impact them. But I feel like there's a shift. I feel like something.
That's what I was about to say, Teresa. It is impacting them.
Well, it is impacting them now.
Yeah.
There's a shift because what I'm now seeing and reading is that these people whose names have been posted out there, people are realizing and recognizing them in stores and restaurants and saying, no, you're not welcome here.
I know.
I'm now seeing that. And I think that shift might bring pause to some people before they act out of hatred, you know, because truly what has happened in the past is that, yeah, you might lose this job, but they'll go get hired. Just like in the police department, those bad cops can go to another state and get hired by another.
Yeah. But what's scary to me though is that this woman is an ICU nurse. Yeah. Think about that. So surely there have been minority patients or people of color that have been cared for by this woman. And you wonder about that.
No, it is no wonder. She absolutely probably did not give them the care that they deserved.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. It's heartbreaking to think about.
It really is. It really is. It's scary.
But that's systematic. Yeah. It is systematic, Lou. You know, because I heard about a story about a gentleman a couple of weeks ago before we even thought about this idea, who was a judge. And he was full of hate for Black people. And he was a judge. And just think about the cases that probably need to be retried as a result of him having sat on a bench to listen to them, you know. So that's a prevailing theme right now. All of this is coming to light, and we're like, you know, we've always had the conversations about people who were in jail who did not commit a crime. Just because of the color of their skin, they were convicted. And think about it going beyond that, but think about it in terms of healthcare.
Well, not that, but just the disparity in the sentencing. I mean, you know, that's what that's what we've known for years. So, okay, yeah.
So this other story, I mean, they're calling the lady permit Karen. There's a Black couple who put in a patio, and she called to question whether or not they had a permit to do so. But what came out as a result of this story is that this woman has been harassing this couple for years, looking for ways to.
This couple, both attorneys.
Both Black and both attorneys. Certainly they would not do anything to put their jobs at risk, right? Like something as simple as a patio, I'm sure they would have. And as the story goes, it wasn't anything that they needed a permit to actually do in their backyard. But what was good about this story is that the community rallied in support of this husband and wife. And I was really glad to see that. But this woman was adamant and even called the police on the video to say that she had been accosted by the husband.
But Teresa, let's unpack that a little bit, because that one fascinated me. So this couple moves into this neighborhood, and I don't know whether this lady, Karen, our caller, was there before or not, but before them, but apparently she did not want them next to her. That's what this is about. Let's talk about this just a little bit. Let's unpack it a bit. Mm-hmm. So this is how I'm telling you, I'm so proud of our people. I really am. And I don't want people to think, well, that's racist. I am. Because the stuff that we endure. So first of all, we are more heavily scrutinized, our credit, our debt to income ratio, everything, before we can even qualify for a house, before we can get a mortgage.
Right.
Okay, we're scrutinized. You know, we know about redlining, how they try to keep us out. So you manage to navigate all of that. And the discrimination that we face in the mortgage application process, all of that. So you're excited, you get your home. You close, you get the keys. Yet you end up beside this person that does not want you there.
Yes.
And so, because you managed to arrive there, your very presence is an affront to them because you've landed where they've landed. That's what this is about.
That's exactly what this is
What
about.
it's about. And so your very superiority, in quotes, is in jeopardy. So the only thing you have left is to harass them.
It in your mind, superiority.
Right. I'm putting it, of course. But my point is that your only recourse is to harass this couple repeatedly.
Repeatedly. They can't even live in peace.
I mean, really. And when I watched the video, I heard I presume the mother saying, I don't want the kids to see this. Can we go and I don't want the kids to see this, because not only are we having to deal with this, we are very aware that our job as parents is to protect our children.
Number one,
so
yes.
We don't want our children then getting the message that they are powerless and they can be treated. And this is certainly if you see your parents disregarded. If they're not then seen as capable, as treated as adults, then there is no way you're going to get a break as a child. And how frightening must that be? So when I looked at that too just took something out of me. Had to take a minute to collect myself, look out the window and just say, Lord, please, just get us through it. So yeah, that was a rough one. That was a rough one. But Teresa, like they say on the news, here closer to home, in Virginia.
No, here?
Yeah, in Virginia. In Powhatan County, actually, there was a lady called the cops on, I think it was a Black couple, and said that, said she'd been attacked. And the Powhatan Sheriff's Office received the report, and the lady's name is Gladys Townsend. She said she'd been assaulted by a Black male and a Black female. And the Powhatan County Sheriff's Office looked into it, investigated, and said that she fabricated the whole assault, and she was charged with filing a false police report. Just made it up that it happened.
There was no explanation?
No. No.
And she actually gave a description of a woman.
And so they're looking into it to see what could there possibly been any type of connection with her, but she just made it up. And so when they say they're, charging her with filing a false police report, there needs to be some level of severity or something with that, because when you're doing this against Black people, it's not just, slap on the hand, but you're placing us at risk of injury and death.
Death.
That's
every time it happens. That's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I never saw a connection of why she made this up. Just that she made it up. Yeah.
I mean, it goes back to the Karen in the park. I mean, they don't have any regard for what could happen. And it's almost like they know what might happen and don't even care about it. You know what I mean?
Well, no, but let's unpack that a little bit, Teresa. What it is you don't know your place. You don't. It's just like on the plantation and going back to slavery. How dare you speak to Massa like this? How dare you? You had better learn your place. And when you conduct yourself in a way that makes me believe you don't know your place, I'm going to have to deal with you. And that's what it is. When you buy in my neighborhood, you don't know your place. When you swim in my pool, even if it's a public pool, you don't know your place. So that's what it is. When you're in this restaurant, you don't know your place.
Ooh, but how does it end? That's rhetorical. I don't expect you to answer it, but this, I'm sick on my stomach right now thinking about that.
This is just 1 week. That's why, like we said, we couldn't digest all of them. I'm sorry. You can call us wimps, whatever you need to say. There's only so much you can take, and for your own sanity. So, yeah.
No, I know. And you just mentioned swimming in a pool. So there is this story about a mom who is on business, staying at the Hampton Inn with her children. And while she's conducting business and her kids swimming in the pool, one of the hotel workers called the cops on this mother and her kids. And even with her showing them her key card that allows her into the business, they arrested her. Right? And it's like, how do you get to that point? She has a key to the room. She's registered in the hotel, but they take the word of this employee who definitely has a problem with Black people. Because I think even the term "you people" is used. You people, it's because of you people.
Yeah.
And I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Of course, they fired her, but just imagine. In that case, what her kid, this was all done in front of her kids, actually, according to the video I saw.
Yeah, I saw that too. So, yeah. It's very, very upsetting. And that's our week. Yeah.
So,
we just wanted you to know what our week has been like.
To get a better glimpse into what our lives are like after we wake up, brush our teeth, shower, dress, and go out into the world.
When we are just trying to manage ordinary activities of our lives.
These injustices pierce our soul to remind us that while this is a free nation, the level of freedom is largely determined by the color of our skin.
We are not free, and no holiday or observance will ever make us so.
What will do that is to realize that the life of others matter.
We can't breathe.
Black lives matter.
That's it for us today, because here at Earrings Off.
Now that you know better, do better.
Take good care.